Chapter 381. A Few Magic Scrolls. Runemaster was indeed a profession that ate a lot of money. Not mentioning the resources that they could obtain through hunting magic beasts, there were also many materials that they needed to form formation and so on. It was only through accumulation would they become more powerful. To be exact, all professions will have accumulation. But the Runemaster was somewhat special in a way that as long as they have enough money, they could technically be invincible in battles. No one would be able to harm them in the slightest bit. The main reason was naturally because Runemaster could prepare sets of formation plate that would trigger in some situation. In this way, they only needed to throw whatever they have prepared before in battle. And any protracted battle would only result in their win. Their opponent would have long exhausted their mana, but they still have a stack of magic scrolls that they hadn't used yet. But there was also weakness. The Runemaster would not fight against other magicians, magic warriors, or even warrior on the arena, because most of the time, their set of formation that they have prepared were not allowed to be used. Asking them to fight with their bare skills directly, these Runemasters were clearly unwilling. On their way back, Rhea was teaching Ruben the few rank 1 magic scrolls that she taught him. These were the common magic scrolls that were more likely to be used during this period of time and also quite easy to make. First was rank 1 shield. It can create a shield around them for 3 seconds, protecting them from the attack that was not any higher than a rank 1 magic beast. This was quite tasteless for most magic warriors who had reached rank 2, but for those below it, they would definitely need it. Ruben himself made a lot to protect himself. Rhea told him that using several at once would create a few layers of shields around him. Stacking several of them would be able to block a rank 2 magic beast's attack. This is clearly a life-saving item. Second was a rank 1 element arrow. The arrow could attack the designated opponent with elemental arrow, and the element would have to depend on what element the Runemaster infused into the magic scroll. Considering that Ruben has dark element, the element he could infuse is dark element, so the result would be dark elemental arrow. The piercing power was quite considerable, and at the very least, it could kill rank 1 magic beast. Ruben had used several of them in the battle. But I need to use 2 or 3 to kill a rank 1 magic beast, Ruben asked doubtfully. For higher ranked magic beast, he knew that it was impossible to only use 1, but for rank 1 magic beast it should only need 1, right? That's because when you use the magic scroll, you need to think about where you aim the attack. The magic will not attack the weakness automatically and need to be guided. If you didn't guide it, then it will attack the part that's easier to hit. Moreover, the quality of your magic scroll need to be improved. There's leakage of mana, which will decrease the magic scroll power. Ruben was silent. The rank 1 magic scroll was already weak enough and the power was reduced once again. It seemed that he had to quickly improve his skills or he would be wasting a lot of magic scrolls. Third was control-type magic scroll. There were many types of control magic scroll, but the most common one was restraint. It could create an invisible net that controlled the opponent's movement for a short period of time. The stronger the opponent is, the weaker the effect of the restraint. Naturally, if Ruben were to use that rank 1 restraint magic scroll on Rhea, it would not work at all because it was too weak. Fourth was rank 1 recovery magic scroll. The scroll can heal common injuries but not severe injuries. If it was used in a severe injury, it would decrease the bleeding slightly and might help, but the effect wouldn't be much. However, since it could help to stabilize the injury, it could bring precious time for those who were injured. These were the 4 magic scroll that Rhea taught Ruben. At least the basic. There were some variations that Ruben wanted to learn too. But she told him that he had to be proficient in all of them, so it would be better for him to take it slow. 1 at a time. These runes are really tiring to draw, Ruben said weakly. He had to focus when drawing runes or it would fail, and failing meant he would be wasting his mana. Considering that Ruben's own mana is not much, he had to spend a long time meditating to recover his mana. For Ruben, it was really tiring, so whenever he practiced, he had to make sure that he was super focused before starting. Otherwise, he would only waste his mana. It's practice. When you're good enough, you will be able to draw them in seconds. Rhea took a piece of paper and said, "Like this." With that, Her hand moved and then a drawing was formed on the top of the paper in an instant. Those who saw the formation's shape on the paper would never believe that this was made in less than 1 second. Reuben looked at the magic scroll silently. How long do you think it'll take for me to reach your level? My level? Rhea looked at Reuben doubtfully. If you're diligent, maybe 10 years? 10 years? Reuben was speechless. Samuel listened to their conversation and looked at the 4 magic scrolls that Rhea made. He thought for a moment and then asked, "Do you want to sell these to the government? I'm sure you can ask for some things from them." Chapter 382, Magic Beast's Nest? Rhea considered Samuel's words. After a while, she agreed and then set up the price for each of these magic scrolls. For her, drawing these magic scrolls would not take too much time, and when Reuben is proficient, he could take over this job. Reuben agreed wholeheartedly. He hoped that he could get Dark Element Magic Core so that he could train and get stronger quickly. For the time being, the price will be 5 rank 1 Magic Core for the shield and 4 rank 1 Magic Core for the other 3 each, Rhea said after a moment. She might not need these magic cores that much, but they could be used as an alternative for her world to absorb energy. Moreover, the mana stone that her world produced was non-elemental, which was very suitable for her practice. Rhea's mana has all elements, but finding all elements magic cores were too difficult. It would be easier for her to find non-elemental mana stone through her world and then used it for practice. In that way, she could become stronger faster. So, you're hoarding the magic beast's corpses and now you're also hoarding their magic cores? Samuel asked in amusement. He had the feeling that the government would feel as if they were working for her. But considering that the only other person who asked for these was Dina, the government might feel more at ease to come into an agreement with Rhea. Because what she gave was the magic scrolls directly. If they were capable enough, they could also imitate the magic scroll themselves to replicate it. In the future, there would definitely be more Runemaster who grew up learning Rhea's runes and formation. I can't help it. Runemaster requires too much resources. Rhea spread her hands. I'll negotiate with them. Samuel nodded in agreement. Oh, one more thing. Rhea thought about the nest of the magic beasts. Before going to the crack for the second time, it would be better for her to go there too. And since the magic beasts shouldn't be too strong, she could also invite others to come along with her for practice. Yes, it's like this. Rhea explained about the magic beast's nest that she found some time ago and also her plan to go there and investigate. At the same time, she was planning to let the military come along so that they could pay attention in case they saw a similar nest in the future. To be honest, she was planning to go there before this trip to the crack. But when she saw the decision made by the higher-ups, she knew that it was impossible to delay this trip to the cracks with the researchers. As for the reasons, Rhea didn't know whether it was because these researchers had been pestering them or it was because they knew something important they needed to investigate was inside the crack. No matter which one the answer is, Rhea chose to stay silent about the nest. Besides, making a magic beast's nest was not that easy. It would take some time for these magic beasts to gather and truly form the nest. During this period of time, it would be better for her to wait until these magic beasts gather together so that they could round them all up in one go. Rhea was not that afraid that these magic beasts would be beyond their abilities to deal with, because she could guess that Samuel should come and the highest ranked of these magic beasts should only be rank 3. Higher ranked magic beasts couldn't come out yet. Or it was more like their original location was a bit too far away from the entrance and they would take some time to come out. So the magic beasts should be weaker, and if there were any stronger magic beasts, she could deal with it secretly while leaving the rest for the others. There was no way they could protect everyone behind them for the rest of their lives. In this ruined world, they had to learn to protect themselves. Because if they did it too much, it would be overprotection. And in such situation, they would basically prevent them to be able to grow up and protect themselves. Magic beast's nest? Reuben was stunned when he heard that and asked, "Why did you not tell us before?" "I can't say it when you're already so eager to enter the crack." Rhea spread her hand. "And I don't think it's easy to appease those researchers." Reuben, as much as he wanted to refute, he also knew that it was impossible. Reuben has been helping Samuel as his assistant for a long time, and during that period of time, He naturally had some dealings with some researchers who had cooperation with the Jones Corporation. Those people were very stubborn and it was hard to control them. They also couldn't possibly use violence against these people. It was a headache to deal with those stubborn B***starred, and Reuben could only sigh when he remembered those miserable days. With the modern world's laws, it was even harder to deal with the researchers because they couldn't use anything to them. Wait now, is it any easier? There were not many magic spells that could be used to control them, right? Reuben looked at the few magic scrolls examples in front of him thoughtfully. Samuel heard that and frowned. If the magic beasts make a lot of nest, it'll indeed be trouble in the future. But are you sure that you want to go with the military? From what he knew, Rhea was not a person who liked others finding out about her real identity. So far, she has been trying her best to hide the fact that she's the Runemaster and only a few people knew the truth. Well, after this incident, there will be more people who knew. But as long as they paid attention to secrecy, it's not impossible to suppress this incident. Right? Chapter 383. She has changed. Samuel was thinking about it and looked at Rhea with some hesitation. It should be fine. The government knew how to take care of the confidentiality, right? Rhea asked back. Of course they knew. There were many things about the magic beasts that the government didn't tell the people and only spread out things that was necessary for them to know. For other strategic resources, these people would definitely gather them first. I can talk to them, but for this expedition, they might want to send more elite soldiers. Samuel thought for a moment and then added, also, you might want to rest and train for yourself during this period of time. We have spent quite a long time in the crack. While they still stopped for the night rest in the crack, but it was different from how Rhea usually practiced. She might want to spend more time practicing on her own before they went again. After all, it would take a lot of accumulation for them to advance from their current rank to the next rank. If they wanted to advance faster, it would be inevitable for them to spend more time meditating and so on. But because of this, their training time would be even more precious. There was no way that they could practice well if they continued to fight against the magic beasts. Don't worry about that. What I need more right now is a fight with more magic beasts of equal rank, Rhea said calmly. She had just advanced to rank 5 not long ago, and to advance to the next rank would require a lot of time. Moreover, Rhea had noticed that she hadn't fully adapted to her physical strength. The speed in which she made the runes some time ago was not fast enough. If it was in that world, she could make runes faster, which would guarantee her safety better. So she wanted to train. The main reason was because she used those special magic cores to increase her strength faster than normally. While those mana treasures were indeed precious and useful, but using too much would make it difficult for them to control their strength. This was something that Rhea understood very well because she was currently experiencing it. Thankfully, her mana control was good, so she could still make runes and so on after some adaptation. But her physical strength was getting stronger and stronger, which made her somewhat unused to it. After all, Rhea has never been good at physical battle, so she would have to spend some time to get used to it. In this way, the best way for her to adapt to her current strength would be through fighting. Possibly a fight with those of equal strength of her. Oh! Samuel arched his eyebrows. Thankfully, Peter is not in this car, or he would definitely challenge Rhea for another battle just so that he could satisfy his fighting desire. But thinking about their battle not long ago, Samuel felt that Rhea's ability to control her runes were still very good. At the very least, there were no obvious breakthrough points that could be used to destroy her defense. Not mentioning the high-speed air rune making that Rhea showed, that alone was more than enough to cause trouble for many people who wanted to fight against Rhea. But taking a break will be good. Rhea nodded. During this period of time, she could gather more resources and take care of her world. She hadn't thought about the reason to bring out the resources yet. As for trading for the things that she needed, these magic scrolls were more than enough. Being too rich is really not good. How about if I just do some charity? Rhea thought about this and felt that it was feasible. The valuable things were traded with other things that she needed, and the rest could be given away. Many people still needed it, and Rhea didn't mind doing some charity from time to time. Many ordinary food that was kept in her world was not needed anymore, and Rhea guessed that she might not use it for the rest of her lives. And as time passed, Rhea could guess that these things would be worthless because there would be plenty of things more valuable than it that appeared. Those farms that she had covered with formation would definitely allow plants that contained mana to grow. Those foods would slowly but surely become the norm in the world. Ordinary food? It would be thrown far away because it was no longer necessary for them to have it. TSK. If this was in the past, I would have never thought about it. Rhea shook her head. Because if it was in the past, she would think that what she has were not enough for herself and there was no surplus. But now she has too much food. Even if she kept some for her private trade in case she paid a visit to other bases, but the rest were still in tons. Don't ask her how these animals produced so much. She didn't even understand herself. So for the things that were too much, Rhea felt that it would be better to give them away to those who needed it. She had changed. This was something that Rhea herself had noticed when she was interacting with others. Looking at Samuel, who was talking with Reuben about the possible arrangement for the Magic Beast's Nests trip, Rhea smiled faintly. Perhaps she was affected by him. People said that your IQ and behavior would be affected by those whom you interact with. Since she had more interaction with Samuel, Rhea felt that she had learned more about business, yet at the same time, she also learned about compassion. For these things that she didn't need, why couldn't she give them away for the sake of other benefits that she might be able to use? Isn't it good like this? Rhea's smile turned warmer. Chapter 384. Return to City A base. But she would not want to give out the space storage scrolls so easily. The food that she gathered in the beginning was fine, but she would need to find some container to put them in. For this, Rhea looked at Samuel. He's the best candidate to ask for help. So shortly after they reached City A base, Samuel heard that Rhea wanted to donate food for the continent because she had too much food. Samuel prepared a large container, and then Rhea gave out a large amount of grains, eggs, milk, and even meat that has been cut. If one didn't know better, they would think that Rhea was managing a farm. On behalf of the people, I would like to thank you, Samuel said solemnly. He could see that the reason why Rhea donated these was because these food didn't contain mana at all. These should be obtained by Rhea before the earthquake happened, as the mana concentration was really thin at that time. As for when she got them, Samuel didn't know and didn't plan to investigate too deeply. When the earthquake first happened, the world order was disrupted and many places lost their surveillance. Moreover, people were struggling to live and could easily take items from those broken buildings. Of course, it was not impossible for Rhea to buy them before the earthquake happened and then used it over the past few months. After all, Samuel didn't know when Rhea became a rank 1 magician and made those space storage scrolls. Being a rank 1 magician was more than enough to increase rank 1 space storage scrolls. After Rhea advanced in ranks, with her ability, there was no way she would not make higher ranked space storage scrolls and possibly collect a lot of supplies. So Samuel didn't have any intention to investigate this matter deeply. It's not much. Rhea shrugged. I'll talk with the government about the magic scrolls and you will receive the result later, Samuel added. Yes. Samuel looked at Rhea and thought about something as he looked at the large amount of supplies that was being escorted away. Even though he would not investigate the source of these foods, he was curious about something else. I have a question. Yes. Rhea looked at Samuel suspiciously. Is it possible for the space storage scroll to be put inside another space storage scrolls? Samuel asked quietly. Rhea froze and then smiled faintly. She could guess why Samuel wanted to ask this question was because the large amount of supplies she took out were food without much mana within them. The only time when she could take them was before the earthquake or shortly after that incident. Because other food produced after that period of time would definitely contain much more mana. But at that time it was impossible for her magic ranks to be so high, yet the amount of food that she gave out, it was too much. So Samuel was curious. Thankfully, yes, it's possible, Rhea answered calmly and then took out a paper. A space storage scroll is basically using the runes to create an independent space, a space contained within the space. And these space-related ruins are somewhat special because they contain some forms of law. Law? Samuel thought about the fact that time could be stopped within the space storage scroll and somewhat understood what Rhea meant. The area within the space storage scroll has its own time and space law. But these laws were influenced by the runes that formed them. It's indeed mysterious. There's a limit to the space storage scroll that you can put inside. Ria thought for a moment and then said, "The explanation is a bit long, but you just have to remember that you can't take the same rank magic scrolls inside one another, but if the ranks are different, then there's no problem at all." Considering Samuel's talent for runes, Ria felt that explaining the rules and the laws might sound like heavenly scripture to Samuel's ears. To stop him from feeling that she was intentionally torturing him, Ria chose to give the shortest explanation possible. And this explanation was not that hard to understand. Does it work in the way that lower-ranked space storage scroll can put higher-ranked space storage scroll inside? Samuel asked another question. He also didn't pester Ria for detailed explanation, for he understood that his talent was simply not in this area. Who would want to torture themselves listening to those things? Ugh, his brain will hurt. But it didn't mean that he's stupid. He's just not good at runes. Ria didn't know that Samuel was secretly praising himself and said, "No. The lowest-ranked space storage scroll, the rank 1 space storage scroll, can't possibly hold anything that could interfere with its runes. Let's just say that there are some resonance within the runes of the space department, and if you forcefully stuff them in, it's not impossible to cause an explosion." Samuel was stunned, and then he asked, "Explosion? Why have I never heard about it?" Ria glanced at Samuel. This was actually not a secret among the rune masters, because they were researching these runes to the bottom as much as possible. The research allows them to understand the complicated relationship between these runes. Among them, the space and time-related runes have always been the most difficult. Ordinary rank 1 space storage scroll are using the simplest space runes, and they're limited in their ability. Let's give it another example of an ordinary electrical circuit containing a simple battery and lamp. But you want to stuff another lamp inside, which will definitely drain the battery faster. The principle is similar because a runes would definitely form a circle, but the difference is that the battery in a rune will recover by itself. But if you forcefully stuff another lamp, the recovery ability of the battery is not the same as the consumption, which will make the two lamps die out in the end. Chapter 385. Teasing. Samuel was silent for a while and then said, "Battery can't regenerate by itself." Ria. She understood the principle of energy conservation, but this is not the place to talk about it. The main reason why she talked about it was to give an easy-to-understand example for Samuel. Seeing Ria's look, Samuel laughed lightly and said, Okay. I'm sorry, but your explanation is not very good." Ria rubbed her forehead helplessly as she felt that Samuel is really a bit playful. Not that she minded it, though. "All right, let's use another example." Ria has never been good at giving explanations for people who didn't have any foundation in runes. For people like Samuel, who basically didn't touch runes at all, using the terms that she usually used would definitely make him more confused than understanding. How about liquid bombs? You should know that liquid bombs are very fragile, and if you disturb it in the slightest bit, it'll cause explosion, right? Ria asked. Samuel was stunned and looked at Ria thoughtfully. "Your explanation is very dangerous, Ria. Have you seen bombs before?"
No.
"Then, I read it in the story I found in the internet." "Samuel?" What did she read? Seeing the expression on Samuel's face, black lines appeared on Ria's forehead. "I don't read anything dangerous. It's a detective novel where there are liquid bombs placed in some place and there are police officers, or specialist or whatever defusing it." She definitely didn't read any kind of thesis or anything related to bomb construction. After all, Ria's study was not related to this kind of thing, and Ria didn't have any reason why she would want to read something like that. "Oh. Samuel looked at Ria and smiled faintly. "It seems that your knowledge reserve is quite big, Miss Ria." "Don't speak like that." Ria really wanted to hit Samuel right now. "Why can't I like reading novels? I'm also a human being and I have my own hobby. At least, hobby before coming to that world." After coming back from that world, Ria had almost never read anything again because she was so busy with her training and experiment with various runes. After all, she was back to be a rank 1 magician at that time, and it was impossible for her to make any high-ranked runes. For the sake of her safety and survival, Rhea could only do her best to use some low-ranked runes. Runes that didn't require much mana but could be used for various things. These were more important. Oh, she also finished her thesis, and there was basically no time for her to read those favorite stories of hers. I know, Samuel quickly said while laughing. I also have my own hobby, but I didn't expect you to like reading those kinds of stories. It can't be helped. Rhea shrugged. Who Made My Life has too much drama, and I want to read other things with more excitement. The excitement in the form of mystery and other things. It was much more interesting than having to read dramas of those women who were more outrageous than her half-sister and mother. Too tiring to read. Samuel nodded. He knew that his sister also read many kinds of romance novels, so he was actually not very surprised that Rhea read novels and so on. After all, those could be said to be their hobbies that they liked to do in their free time. Everyone had their own hobbies, and he would not judge them. Anyway, back to the topic. But I have to say that your example is really dangerous. Samuel thought about the liquid bomb and then continued. Do you mean that putting another space storage scroll is the same as disturbing the liquid and trigger the explosion? Yes. Rhea nodded with a smile. That's more or less how it is. But if you are to make a more advanced and stabler bomb and then put the relatively volatile liquid bomb inside it, then nothing would happen well theatrically. Rhea thought about it and frowned. Who in their right mind would put two bombs together? Would combining two bombs together make the explosion bigger? It didn't seem to be that way. Samuel didn't know that Rhea's mind had flown far away, but he felt helpless about Rhea's explanation that was using bombs like that. Even though it was easy to understand, but the mental image in his mind has turned storage after she mentioned it that way. All right, I got it. I don't think I need to get more storage explanation from you again. So it's still strange? Seeing Rhea's gaze, Samuel coughed and said, Well, it's not that bad, but I don't think that the function of these two are different. Rhea snorted but chose not to care about Samuel at this time. She nodded and said, Of course it's different, but you better not try to create that kind of explosion because you can't remotely control the two space storage scrolls from a distance. Unless you're a soul magician. Soul magician. It was a special type of magician whose magic was in the form of souls, and they could also extend their mana further away than others. These soul magicians were known for their abilities to control puppets and affecting a person's mind. Samuel arched his eyebrows. A necromancer could also do it. Ah, right. You remind me of an annoying lich. Samuel laughed when he heard Rhea's words. There was indeed some annoying lich in that world, and he had to admit that he didn't like de-align with them either. Stop laughing. Rhea rolled her eyes. Okay. I'll go and make the report first. Samuel thought that it was time for him to see Mr. A and bid his farewell. He had more or less understand the restriction when using the space storage scrolls and understood how Rhea could take so much food. As for the detailed explanation, he truly didn't need it. And he had enough fun teasing Rhea too. Chapter 386. Report and Agreement. Samuel quickly waved his hand so that he would avoid thinking unnecessary things as they were still in public and waved his hand. Rhea nodded and then bid her farewell to Samuel too. She had other things to do. Samuel went to have another meeting with Mr. A and talked about some things. First was the matter of the exploration that Rhea suggested some time ago. Mr. A was delighted when he heard this and felt that it was really good. This proposal is simply the best proposal that you have ever made, Mr. Samuel. Mr. A praised loudly and laughed heartily. He felt that Samuel's consciousness was really high. To be able to make such proposal, it would also allow them to regain control of their territory and fought against those magic beasts that were trying to get ahead of them. I'm not the one making this proposal. Samuel shook his head. Besides, I think it's better to check it because it's near City A base. For Samuel, the magic beast's nest might threaten the safety of the people in City A base, which was something he couldn't tolerate. There were his family members in City A base along with his close friends. Samuel didn't want to lose any of them. So the best way to ensure City A base's safety was through eliminating any threats around City A base as much as possible. This magic beast's nest was naturally included among them, and Samuel would do his best to eradicate these magic beasts. Also, your soldiers need more training. The performance of Leader Qin is not that bad, but the soldiers under him are a bit too slow to react. I think that you might want to create elite soldiers whose strength reached rank 3 as fast as possible because more and more dangerous and powerful magic beasts are coming out, Samuel added. There were more magic beasts coming out, and there was no guarantee that there wouldn't be any powerful magic beasts coming out. At that time, it was impossible to rely on these returnees all the time, so it would be better to create an elite soldiers group to deal with these magic beasts on their own. For this matter, Samuel was also thinking of making elite soldiers in City A base. With them around, he didn't have to worry about magic beasts attacking City A base all the time. But he still needed to discuss this with his father. Mr. A nodded. I have been thinking about that, but the resources are limited. Speaking about food, there's a donation. After Samuel explained about the donation that Ria wanted to make, Mr. A was happy once again. In the meeting with the other higher-ups not long ago, they had decided that Ria is a good girl whom they could work together with just like Samuel and Peter. Even if she wouldn't be part of the government or anything like that, but they could definitely work together well. Now that he heard Ria had made donation, Mr. A felt that his decision was right. Compared to the total population of Continent Z, the amount might not be enough, but it could alleviate the condition for many people in the bases, Samuel said as he thought about City B base. And you might want to send some people to City B base. Rather than official base, I think it's more like private base right now. Mr. A frowned. For some city bases, they did cooperate with the locals who have some influence. In City A base, they cooperated with Samuel and Mr. Jones. The cooperation has been going well, and the two sides were working together to create a better base for the people. In this way, even if Mr. Jones is the head on the surface, the government could still influence the decision-making to a certain degree. And in other bases, it should be similar. I'll send people to check. Mr. A sighed. The signal tower for some areas were still in state of ruins. They could move the satellite over, but they also needed these satellites in other areas, so it was impossible for them to do this. Samuel nodded. The last thing that he discussed with Mr. A was about the magic scrolls that Ria wanted to sell to them. Naturally, the price he told to Mr. A was double the price that Ria asked from him. Hey, he also needed to make a profit. As a black-hearted businessman, Samuel would not miss any chance to get more money or resources for himself. Mr. A could definitely tell that the price Ria asked was definitely lower, but since she was unwilling to talk with him and delegated it to Samuel, then he would not meddle in this matter. The price was acceptable to him, and he could also send some of these talismans for study. So after a while, they might be able to make it themselves without the need to ask from her. Ria should have known about this. But since she still gave it to them, then it meant she didn't mind spreading these magic scrolls to let other people learn. For the government, the most special one was the recovery magic scroll. Even if it could not heal severe injury, the fact that it could help stabilize the condition for those who were severely injured was already more than enough. This could increase the chance of survival for those soldiers who fought on the front line. For this, Mr. A was also very grateful. Samuel added that Ria could not take any recurring order because she didn't know when she would go out on her own. Mr. A expressed his understanding. But before that, he had to order a large batch as much as possible. Lastly, can I have more information about Ruth and Dina? Samuel asked before ending the meeting with Mr. A. Mr. A arched his eyebrows. Why do you want to know about them? Chapter 387. Report and Agreement 2. Samuel didn't directly answer. He couldn't say that there were some things that happened in that world that made him dislike Dina. After all, the government didn't really want to see them have conflicts during this period of time. They still needed Dina's ability. I want to be prepared in case she chooses to attack me again, Samuel said slowly. You might not know, for demonic magician, the best supplement are other magicians, preferably those of the same rank. He's a magic warrior, but he still has mana. So Dina once targeted him in that world, and the two of them fought for some time before retreating. Because neither side could take the advantage in the battle against the other party, and if they were to waste more time, they might attract the supporter behind each other. So they tacitly retreated. But that one meeting told Samuel that Dina is someone who would target both magicians and magic warriors in order to advance. He didn't know whether she would follow the same route in this world. After all, there were quite a lot of magic beasts, but there were not many magicians and magic warriors of higher ranks. If Dina wanted to target them, then she might need to work hard and try her best to make sure that her strength could be above them. Otherwise, it would be useless. As for the returnees, they knew the strength of these demonic magicians well because they have faced them in that world. There were too many demonic magicians who wanted to kill them and took away their blood, so they learned various countermeasures to protect themselves. One of them was naturally the self-destruction method once they were about to die. In this way, the demonic magician could never take their blood. But that was another matter altogether. Mr. A frowned when he heard this and sighed deeply. There were too many unstable factors for Continent Z right now, and he felt that it would be difficult for them to do anything. The best they could do was to reduce the amount of resources they sent to Dina. In the first place, they were also wary of Dina. But since her progress mostly using the magic beast's blood, they were somewhat relieved and still willing to cooperate with her. But now that Samuel said this made Mr. A's vigilance increased once more. If Dina really wanted to target the other magic warriors and magicians, it would be difficult for them. I didn't say that she will definitely target them, but this is a situation that might happen, Samuel quickly added. He didn't want to accuse someone of what they didn't do. Even if Dina used to use other humans' blood for her strength improvement, there was no one who could say for sure that Dina would follow her old path in this world. I know. Thank you for your information. We can't share much about other returnees without their permission, but we can still give you some of their basic. That's enough. Samuel smiled. That's all he needed. For other information, it would be better for him to go and see Dina by himself. While Samuel was having a meeting with Mr. A, Peter went to see Governor Zachary. The other party has been staying in City A base and helped with some matters related to the Martial Arts Association. It was not only the military who have a branch in City A base, but also the Martial Arts Association. So Governor Zachary still has a lot of work. Well, at least when he's here. So, did you gain anything from your trip? Governor Zachary asked Peter. Peter first came to him in the past, which allowed him to know about the warrior and magic warrior. Later on, Governor Zachary also joined the Martial Arts Association and assigned to help Peter in case he needed it. Aside from the fact that I destroy another clothes, there's nothing else. Peter spread his hands. He was glad that Samuel was willing to share some clothes with him, or he would have to stay only wearing that special shorts made for him. That shorts could be stretched and nothing would happen to it. It could be said that this was the short that the Martial Arts Association spent a lot of money to make in the past for Peter. After all, Peter could double his size when he was using a special move. In that world, Peter had special clothing that would increase in size along with him. Here, it was too difficult to make such clothes, so they only made a short for him. Until they found a technology to make the clothes able to adjust their size, Peter had to make sure that he used the double-size technique as fewer as possible. You always need more clothes. How did you manage not to go around naked in that world? Governor Zachary asked in suspicion. If Peter were to use that technique and doubled in size, the clothes would definitely torn apart. But so far, it seemed that none of those things happened to him. My clothes have special runes. Peter paused. He had just remembered that one of the main reasons why he wanted to see the Runemaster in the past was because he hoped that his clothes could be modified. Wait a minute. I have somewhere I need to go. Oi, Peter. Ria was going back with the others, not knowing that someone was about to chase after her to make request. It's really tiring. Amelia sighed deeply as she looked at her home. Right now, I'm just glad that I can go home.
Sean Navid.
They spent days inside the crack, and it made the two of them feel that being able to see the sun again felt very comfortable. Ria looked up at the sky and pursed her lips. The temperature had dropped. She hoped. Chapter 388. Clean. Mom! I'm back! Amelia shouted after she came in. Her eyes moved towards her room as she really wanted to stay in her big bathtub and relax. Staying outside for such a long time and unable to take care of herself made her really tired. What she needed the most is a bath. A good bath. After being stained by blood along with dust and dirt, Amelia felt really dirty and couldn't stand herself. If it was possible, she really wanted to stay in a bath for an hour, but she was sure that her mother would scold her. There were not much resources in this world, and to be able to take a bath was already a luxury. After all, many people couldn't eat and drink out there. "Welcome back." Mrs. Jones heaved a sigh of relief when she saw her 2 children come back. She had heard from her husband that Samuel was being called for a meeting with Mr. A. In this way, all of her children were safe and sound. Mrs. Jones has been worried ever since they departed to the crack. After all, she could not know their condition because there was no connection within the crack. The only thing she could do was to wait for them to go back. "Mom, we're all fine." Amelia stepped forward, wanting to hug her mother, and then she remembered that she was covered in dust because of the battle. Just a bit dirty. Seeing her daughter's embarrassed smile, Mrs. Jones chuckled in amusement. "Go and take a bath. Your brother didn't say that you're going again, right?" If Mrs. Jones could pick, she would rather have her children be more ordinary. Standing at the forefront in various battles would only put them in danger. Moreover, they would have to face the unknown danger firsthand. She felt distressed. "We have a few days' break," Sean replied. "Just a few days?" Mrs. Jones nodded with some distress. She was actually hoping that they could spend more time at home instead of going out to face those magic beasts. There were many other people who had become a magic warrior under her husband's arrangement, so there was no need for them to get out or anything like that, right? Seeing his mother looking at him, Sean rubbed his forehead and said, "Mother, you can persuade brother to let us stay at home more if you want to." "Persuade Samuel?" Mrs. Jones rolled her eyes and shook her head. Ever since he was young, Samuel has never been a kid that was easy to be ordered by other. He had his own way of doing things, and at the same time he was also very stubborn on some matters. This made those who were close to him often feel headache from dealing with him. But his keen intuition in business made him a very good successor. So both Mr. Jones and Mrs. Jones could only tolerate him. Thankfully, that boy grew up to be a fine man. Now that Samuel is already one of the strongest magic warrior around, Mrs. Jones didn't think that she could give order to Samuel. She also didn't want to disturb his work as much as possible. "You should talk with your brother more to let you train your strength first before going out to fight those magic beasts," Mrs. Jones said helplessly. Sean was silent. If he could persuade his brother, would he end up in this state? Thinking about his older brother, Sean felt that it would be extremely difficult for him to ask him for anything. "Mother, I think that it's better if we don't try to ask him," Amelia said bitterly. She felt that if she were to ask something like that to her brother, what awaited her would be overtime and more training. She had already tried to seek death too many times in front of her brother that she was very familiar with this matter. There was no way Amelia wanted to repeat such a thing. All right. Mrs. Jones could only agree helplessly. She also understood that these 2 children didn't dare to confront their older brother in case he would punish them instead. It would not be impossible considering they have been punished a lot by their brother in the past. Mrs. Jones shook her head and then looked at Ria. She blinked her eyes and then looked at Amelia and then turned to Ria again. Her expression contained some doubts. This was because Ria is exceptionally clean. When Ria was escorting them from the back, there was shield runes, which blocked the dust from reaching her. Afterwards, she activated the rune's protective circle, which basically blocked everything that could be a threat to her. So Ria is still very clean. Those who didn't know would think that she was going on an outing. On the other hand, Sean and Amelia were covered in dust, and there were even some part of their clothes that was torn. Some blood marks from the magic beasts remained since they mostly fought close combat battle. The contrast made Mrs. Jones doubtful. "Well, Ria is very powerful, Mom," Amelia said helplessly. This could be considered to be an explanation. But is it possible to be this? Mrs. Jones didn't know what to say, because Ria in front of her looked as if she was just talking a short walk outside instead of fighting. Not only that, she was also very clean without any dust or dirt at all, which made one wonder whether she had taken a bath not long ago. The problem is, this should be impossible because they were all staying inside that crack, and who would build a bathroom there? Unless they were crazy, they would not build a bathroom first. "There's a cleaning magic spell," Ria said quietly. To be honest, Ria didn't know how many days she hadn't taken a bath. because the cleaning magic spell was very useful, and with it, Rhea didn't need to worry about getting dirty or anything. Chapter 389. Clothing Request. All she needed was to cast the magic spell and then she would be clean again. Very convenient. But it might seem unusual for others who were used to take a bath or anything like that. After all, they couldn't really stand using the same clothes all the time for a long period of time. But her cleansing spell could also clean up the clothes, so Rhea didn't feel much. Well, the adaptation period of 4 years in that world was more than enough for her to get used to magic and use it in her daily life. Cleansing spell. Amelia was quickly interested. Is it so convenient? Yes, it's very convenient. But it's better to be a magician than magic warrior to use it. Rhea looked at Amelia as she had just remembered something. Even though cleansing spell is an ordinary rank 1 or could even be lower magic spell, but depending on the range, the amount of mana used would be different. For a magician, this amount of mana was negligible and there was no need to worry so much. But it would be a different thing if the one who performed the magic spell was a magic warrior. Because magic warrior's mana was a bit pitiful. And to clean one's entire body plus the clothes, Rhea estimated that Amelia would require as much as the entire mana of a rank 1 magic warrior. Amelia? Her expression faltered because she understood Rhea's meaning very clearly. Because of her position as a magic warrior, it was not very convenient for her to learn the magic spell, or she would not be able to use other magic spell. For the first time, Amelia felt that being a magician is much more convenient than being a magic warrior. Sean snorted and then walked back to his room. He also couldn't stand being so dirty like this and wanted to take a bath as fast as possible. As for the cleansing spell, he didn't have the time to care about it. Behind him, Amelia quickly followed. She wanted to take a long and comfortable bath. Mrs. Jones smiled helplessly. "Thank you for taking care of my children, Rhea. I hope they're not that much of a trouble." "Don't worry, Mrs. Jones. They're not bad at all," Rhea quickly said. "Not bad at all?" Considering how these two pair of treasure would often fight with each other. Mrs. Jones honestly doubted it. "You can just call me Auntie. Don't be so distant." "Auntie," Rhea replied obediently. "Good girl. Are you hungry? The kitchen have prepared some food." "Well, how about?" Facing Mrs. Jones' kindness, Rhea could only follow behind the other party obediently. For a moment, she felt as if she was facing a real mother. Because her own mother would never care for her so much, but Mrs. Jones was willing to do so. This made Rhea sigh deeply. Sometimes, she didn't know whether her luck was good or bad. The people who should have nothing to do with her cares for her more than her own family members. And before Rhea could rest for long, Peter suddenly came storming in. "Rhea! Mrs. Jones!" The two of them looked at Peter, who suddenly came, and he halted. An embarrassed expression appeared on his face for a moment before he looked at Rhea in a hurry. "Miss Rhea, can I trouble you to help me make clothes?" "Make clothes? I don't have such skill." Rhea was doubtful. She knew how to repair her clothes on her own, but if she was asked to make clothes from scratch, then she had to raise her hand in defeat. Because it was too complicated. Besides, who would make their own clothes these days? She could easily buy them. Well, with the world was currently partially destroyed, it seemed that clothes-making skills would be necessary. Rhea felt that it would be better for her to hope that someone would open clothing business in the near future. "No, I mean, you do know the clothes that are drawn with runes to fit the user's body size, right?" Peter quickly explained. Rhea heard that and understood why Peter suddenly came to her. In that battle against that elephant-like magic beast, Peter grew so big that he basically torn his own clothes apart. It seemed that this should have happened often based on his behavior. So Peter has always been very distressed about his clothing. But wearing torn clothes were not an option. He had to look handsome as those stars. Even though no one would look at him, he didn't want to let anyone see his ragged appearance. So clothes would be extremely important. "Oh, that... Yes, I know, but ordinary clothing would not be able to work," Rhea replied. If it was possible, she also wanted to draw formation and runes on her clothing. But these clothing were made of ordinary materials. They wouldn't be able to withstand the mana flowing within them all the time. Peter's eyes lit up. I'll ask them to use the rank 3 magic beast skin to make clothing. At that time, that material will definitely be able to hold on your runes, right? Rank 3 magic beast skin, leather clothes. It would not be as convenient as clothes made out of cotton and the likes, but it was not that bad. Rhea nodded. Yes, you can. Great! Peter cheered happily. With the clothing that could change its size to fit him, he didn't have to worry about running out of clothes anymore. It seemed that he had to contact the Martial Arts Association and let them work as fast as possible. He didn't want to have go out fighting while being naked. The image is unsightly. What do you want in return? Peter quickly asked. He couldn't possibly let Rhea help him for free. Anyway, even if she wanted him to be his thug temporarily, he's willing to do it. Chapter 390, Projects. Just help me make some clothes when I need it if the clothing they made is good. I'll provide the materials and they can take the excess at that time, Rhea replied. She also wanted to make some special clothing that was imbued with runes and formation. After all, those clothings would provide more defense for her. As a mage whose physical strength was not the highest, Rhea had to think of countermeasure to protect herself. Clothing was an option, but Rhea used not to have the ability to make any of them at all. So she didn't think about it and just carry some formation plate with her. So far, it was enough. But if she were to face higher-ranked magic beasts, then she would really need proper protection. That's easy to say. Peter patted his chest confidently. No matter what style you want, they will definitely be able to make it. Rhea's lips twitched. Why did she has the feeling that the Martial Arts Association has a clothing department that served Peter? Given by how obsessed he is with clothing, Rhea shook her head in amusement. It seemed that Peter would let them make more clothing for him from time to time. Well, with his speed of destroying clothes, it didn't seem to be surprising. The two of them talked for a bit and then Peter ran back, intending to talk with Governor Zachary so that the Martial Arts Association could hurry and make some clothes for him. He wanted to wear handsome clothes that could change their size. In this way, the Martial Arts Association would be busy again. It was just that this business seemed a bit, "Let's eat first." Mrs. Jones chuckled and then called for her daughter and son to come and eat together. It's time for dinner and Mr. Jones and Samuel should be able to join in later. City Base the others. Sophia and Ruby went their separate ways after they had reached City Base. Before they went back, Samuel said that there might be another trip out and if Sophia wanted to go, she should practice and get stronger. Otherwise, it would be hard for them to take care of her who was really weak. As for Ruby, she had no hope of going. With her poor physical strength, it was truly unlikely for her to be able to go. If only you're also a magic warrior, you might have a chance to go, Sophia said with pity when she and Ruby walked back to their respective place. Stephen has gone with Arnold and Reuben, not knowing what those boys were doing. Probably practice again. Ever since the earthquake happened, they were all too busy practicing every single day just to make sure they would not die under the claws of those magic beasts so easily. I don't particularly want to go now. Ruby shook her head. That experience is already more than enough to make have nightmare for a long time. Seeing so many magic beasts rushing towards them and the painful suction power from that formation, Ruby didn't want to experience it again. Then you should work hard and make a lot of useful medicines or things related to it. Sophia grinned. Something like your zombie potion would be very interesting. Ruby laughed and said, I have managed to extract some mana from the magic beast's blood, but it's very violent and if it's absorbed by others, they'll have violent reactions. So far, the rats that are being fed with it are dying one by one. Sophia looked at Ruby speechlessly. She felt that this girl was really a genius, but why did she have to create such terrifying potion? Don't worry. I'm still learning and perhaps I'll be able to make some mana potion that could increase your mana in the future. Ruby chuckled. This was one of her projects that she had been doing lately. If she could make such a potion that could help many people increase their strength rapidly, the number of magic warriors would increase exponentially in the future. So Ruby wanted to work harder. For herself and for others. I hope that you can make it, Sophia said sincerely. The two of them were roommates and they basically knew each other's hobby very well. Sophia would run out to have fun from time to time while Ruby was so busy in the laboratory that it was possible for her to apply for an all-nighter there for her experiment. Since Ruby wanted to make such a potion, then Sophia sincerely hoped that Ruby could make it. "Thank you." Ruby smiled brightly. They stopped in front of the research institute and Ruby entered the institute. Sophia didn't have such qualification, so she could only watch as Ruby walked inside and then turned around. "Say, Melly, do you think that it's possible for me to be able to stand side by side with my friends?" Sophia asked in a low voice. "Woof? Why not, Master?" Melly was following Sophia obediently, and she looked at her master in confusion. In her opinion, Sophia is really good and there didn't seem to be any gap with her friends. Sophia smiled when she saw the confusion on Melly's eyes. "They're really amazing. Each of them have started to carve their own path and will probably shine brightly in the future," Sophia muttered in a low voice. Ria had reached rank 5, and she's also a powerful Runemaster who could create many magic scrolls and formation. Those things were very valuable, and there was no doubt that Ria is an important person in the eyes of many people. Amelia had reached rank 2, and the battle in that crack seemed to have stimulated even further. Samuel said that Amelia's physique seemed to be quite special and she advanced faster when she's fighting. Because of that, he kept on dragging her to the front line. Now, Ruby seemed to have started to make her own project that, if it was successful, would put her in extremely important position. Chapter 391. Sierra. This made Sophia somewhat at loss. People often felt imbalance because of comparison, and Sophia was clearly feeling it deeply right now. She really wished that she could also become stronger, but with her personality that's even lazier than Amelia, Sophia really doubted that it would be possible for her to do so. Right now, with her only having to take care of Melly, Sophia felt that this was already the best. Her future achievement basically depended on how high Melly could reach in the future. "I really hope you can become more powerful, Melly." Sophia patted Melly's head as she walked back to the Carson family residence. As she walked, she saw two people walking in the distance and her footsteps stopped for a moment. "Is that Sierra?" Sierra's face is not a stranger for them. After all, she often came to see Ria and made trouble for the other party. It was to the point that they felt she was as annoying as Valeria, who came to bother them some time ago. It has been some time since the last time she saw Sierra, so Sophia had completely forgotten about her. But now that she saw Sierra again, Sophia felt a bit strange. Did Sierra also enter Cydia base? She planned to ask her brother later. Sierra and Mr. Taylor has been in Cydia base for a few days. Due to Sierra's condition that needed medical attention, Mr. Taylor had to shoulder a lot of debt. Because Cydia base couldn't afford to give them free treatment, and they were basically selling their soul at this point. Because they worked day and night to get more money, but they couldn't even live well because most of the payment would be used to repay their debt automatically. It only took a few days for Sierra to collapse. She couldn't stand it anymore. Having to work from morning to night outside to gather various resources, Sierra was so tired that she just wanted to sleep. But without enough money, it was impossible for her to pay back the money that she owed. This made her feel very resentful. If only Ria had agreed to donate her kidney in the past before the earthquake happened and so on, Sierra would be able to live comfortably in the last days. There was no need for he to worry about the huge debt on her head and the fact that she has to work hard to be able to feed herself. But now it was impossible for her to live well. She still has to go to the hospital and continue her treatment. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for her to survive. Her condition was bad and her father couldn't work much. He has been trying to find some business opportunity, but without any startup funds, it was almost impossible for Mr. Taylor to cover up her subsequent medical fees. The only good thing was that she managed to find some good thing from scavenging around, which reduced her debt somewhat. But the amount was still very large. It was already hundreds of contribution points, and if she still needed to go to the hospital, the debt would definitely increase even more. Life was really difficult for Sierra. "Father, you want to approach the higher-ups in Cydia base?" Sierra asked in disbelief. Even if these people were really in power, but it would be difficult for them to listen to the words of someone who was so far away from the management like Mr. Taylor. "If I don't move fast, it'll be too late." Mr. Taylor was leaning on the wall to rest. The room was really narrow, but this was the only private place that he could use to meet with his daughter to discuss some things. After a few days in City Base, Mr. Taylor was frightened by the exceptionally fast progress of the city. The construction and expansion were going on very quickly to the point that it was impossible not to see. Every single day, there would be new buildings erected, and the place where they were staying right now was officially the worst and furthest away, because the other expansion was in other directions. Not only that, the ruins outside City Base were cleaned up one after another, and then some things would be rebuilt. City Base seemed as if it was forming rings after rings, and those who came later could only live at the outer edge. Mr. Taylor was both lucky and unlucky. If he had come even later, they might not even be able to live here and would be assigned worse location. And he's also unwilling to accept this situation. Many people could live far better than him. Why not him? But it would be difficult for him to change his fate, so he turned to his daughter, as he wanted her to be the one to approach them. "But, do you want to live to pay debts for the rest of your life?" Mr. Taylor asked simply. Sierra bit her lips and she looked at Mr. Taylor as if saying, "Of course not. In that case, listen to me and—" Some people have their own calculations and so on. Samuel could naturally guess that they might feel imbalance in their hearts when they saw the situation in City Base. But it was impossible for him not to give preferential treatment to those who arrived in City Base earlier. After all, these people were lucky and chose this base early on. It was also because of their decision that they were able to live in better place. Other people could only follow them. After talking with the government, Samuel discussed with his father about the weapons parts. After knowing that it was ready, he planned to bring these to Rhea. She seems to have so much projects. From plants, weapon parts, and then there were also many magic beasts' corpses and magic cores. Chapter 392. Testing. Well, it seemed that Rhea did need a lot more resources than many other normal people. Samuel stopped thinking about this as he went back and then found Rhea to talk about this matter. "So the negotiation is done?" Rhea asked. Samuel nodded. "Yes, the higher-ups agreed and I sold it at higher price to them. You can take the price difference for yourself and there's no need to tell me." Rhea shrugged. She knew that merchants and businessmen would do this, and it has never been an issue for Rhea. Since she asked him to do something, there was no way she could let him do things for nothing. The price difference could be said to be her way of giving payment to him. Since she didn't ask for much, Rhea guessed that he should ask for much more from the government and when selling to the base itself. That alone would definitely generate a lot of profit for Samuel. The two of them were smart people, and even if Rhea didn't mention this matter specifically, there was no way Samuel wouldn't know about it. After all, he himself had been, even if Rhea was only a university student, she has been living in that bloody and cruel world for so many years. There was no way she had never encountered something like this and conducted business with others in the past. As for how much Samuel could make, it was not Rhea's business. If Samuel is capable enough, he could make several times the profit and Rhea would just admit that he's really capable. "All right, I'll ask for the magic scrolls tomorrow if you have time to make it," Samuel said after relaying this matter. "Also, the weapon parts are ready. You can take it here." He handed over a space storage scroll and Rhea took it. She moved the content over and then handed the space storage scroll back to Samuel. While this thing was not that valuable for Rhea, but this was very valuable for other people. Samuel might have a lot of space storage scrolls thanks to the price difference he made when making a deal with Rhea and the government, but he still valued each and every single one of these space storage scrolls. "Thank you." "It's nothing." Samuel chuckled and looked outside. They came back in the evening and it was already dark by now. "You should have some rest and then practice on your own pace." "I know." The two of them exchanged pleasantries and then went back to their respective room. It was not only Rhea who needed to rest but also Samuel. After fighting so many magic beasts in that crack to protect everyone, Samuel was really tired. The battle with that rank 4 magic beast had prompted them to do their best in order to survive, so their condition could no longer be said to be the best anymore. Everyone rested quietly. Rhea's way of resting was simply to meditate and focus on recovering her mana. Once she had recovered, she started to do her task of making a lot of magic scrolls of these 4 series. because once they could have these magic scrolls, their fighting capabilities against ordinary magic beasts would increase. After she was done and meditated once again, Riya's attention turned to the rank 4 magic beast corpse that she brought in. Now, time to refine the blood. Refining the blood took some time, but when it was done, Riya would have a good material for her to make rank 5 formation. It took her some time, and when it was done, Riya looked at the blood essence in her hand. Let's make a small teleportation formation again for safety. Riya looked at the small amount of blood essence and sighed deeply. The other 2 magic beasts were either in Peter's hand or Samuel's hand. But if she was not wrong, Samuel completely scorched that magic beast to the point that only dust was left. Nothing could be used from that magic beast. But from Peter, he only beat up the magic beast, so she might be able to negotiate with him to get some blood from the magic beast's heart. Riya came out of her world and started to make the teleportation formation near the window, not touching the one-time teleportation formation that she had made before. After that, she used the remaining blood to make a small formation plate. It was a rank 5 formation, but the size was smaller. The power of the formation would not be compromised as long as there was enough energy supply, in which Riya directly used the rank 4 and rank 3 magic beasts cores that she had collected and merged into the formation plate. But making this formation plate was really trouble. When it was done, Riya looked at the hair pin in her hand helplessly. I really can't think of anything else to make aside from this. The formation plate was really small, so she simply incorporated it to form a hairpin. In this way, she could carry it with her without other people looking at her. Well, seeing a person dressed so nicely at the end of the day didn't seem to be that good of idea either. But after a moment, Riya tossed the thoughts away. Anyway, it didn't seem to matter that much. The only other problem was that the power of this small formation plate would only be enough to transfer one person. So if Riya was in the situation where she needed to transfer more than one person, she would have to make a teleportation formation on the spot instead of using this formation plate. Not that it would be a big problem. Riya didn't have any plan on traveling with other people at all. Right? Chapter 393. Testing. 2. Riya felt that there was something wrong with her logic. But at the same time, she didn't think that there was anything wrong. Forget it. Let's take care of the plants first. It has been a while since Riya took care of her plants since she handed over the task to her dolls. These dolls were really convenient, but making the dolls required a lot of materials. Seeing the jade in her hand was diminishing at rapid speed when she made more dolls last time, Riya felt heartbroken. She moved to check the plants and felt that this world was really good. It was adjusting the mana around these plants to the most suitable living condition, allowing the plants to grow well even if she didn't take care of it that much. Does this world has its consciousness? Riya fell into deep thought for a moment. As a world treasure, it was not surprising for this world to develop a consciousness on its own after a period of time. But it was usually not that easy for any magical item to have consciousness instead of following the rules that had been set for them. And Riya knew that if this world has its own consciousness, it might be troublesome for her. Because the world consciousness might not listen to her. Riya closed her eyes, trying to communicate with the world consciousness of this world. But after a few minutes, she didn't receive any response at all, making Riya a bit confused. Did she guess wrong? In this case, Riya felt that she didn't have to worry so much about it. No matter what, the world was tied to her soul and she couldn't really separate the world from herself without hurting her soul. For a magician, their soul is a very important part of their body. No, not only magicians. All professions would regard soul as one of the most important thing in their life, comparable to their own lives. And if their soul were incomplete, they would never be able to break through to rank 7 in their entire life. It was the ironclad rule in that world. The power of the soul would be more reflected when their magic rank was high enough. But even until her death in that world, Riya still didn't know how the power of the soul actually worked for them. After all, she's not a soul magician. Only the soul magician was keen on researching about soul and have a lot of strange inventions. They have their own different set of magic and could use the soul magic for various things. It was a bit, well, complicated. The soul magician was split into 2 parties. One was using their magic to harm people and the other was using it to protect people. There were two extreme among the soul magician. Rhea rubbed her forehead. Forget it. She's not a soul magician and Rhea didn't really want to have any conflict with those soul magicians other. These people were hard to deal with and if their bodies were modified to a certain degree, they would not lose against ordinary magician. Otherwise, their lethality were a bit disappointing. Pushing the thoughts away, Rhea focused on other things in her world. I still have a lot of resources. She had already given a lot of resources to Samuel not long ago and most ordinary food has been handed away. What left was some snacks that she liked and a few other things that tasted good. Cough. It was definitely not because she wanted to taste them as snack in the future. In any case, with those resources, Rhea believed that City Base would become even better. The scene where people fought others for the sake of little money and so on should not happen in City Base. Rhea couldn't control other bases, but at the very least, she hoped that City Base would be safe. Rhea moved her eyes towards other resources, wondering whether she should give them away or sell them, because these were all rice and other plants that she had planted before. The difference with ordinary food was the fact that these things contained some mana that was beneficial for the body. Well, for ordinary people at the very least. When one became a magician, especially those at her ranks, these plants were really tasteless and didn't have much use. They couldn't help her improve anymore, because she's already too strong compared to the medicinal efficacy of the herbs. Well, let's sell some of them to Samuel later or just give it for free. Rhea finished her mental journey and sighed again. After it was done, Rhea put her attention to the weapon parts that Samuel gave to her. It was the simplest handgun and Rhea quickly drew the runes that she had been planning on top of the parts. Fire and lightning type of runes. Of course, she had to be careful so as not to make the gun explode before the bullet was shot. In that case, she had to. Should she add other elements such as fire? Better not unless she want to soak the gunpowder inside. In that case, she can just add this rune. Rhea spent a few hours making modification and after a while, she was done. Now, test shoot. Rhea looked at the gun on her hand that didn't seem to be any different from ordinary gun with a smile. The addition of runes were in the parts that were inside and even if it was outside, she simply coated it with some paint to cover it up. So after walking to the edge of her world, she set up a target and then stood 10 meters away. Her shooting skill was not that good. It was already good if she could hit on target at this distance. Rhea aimed the gun at the target in front of her and then pulled the trigger. Bang! 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 Chapter 394. Suppressed Excitement. Bang! Rhea looked at the target in the distance that was burned by fire and there was lightning crackling around. Her eyes lit up happily. But before she could be happy for long, bang! The gun in her hand exploded. Rhea! She looked down at the gun that had turned into parts and then sighed. The formation plate she placed on her body automatically triggered when the gun exploded, protecting her. In this way, the explosion wouldn't do anything to her. So it seems that the weapon's durability is not that strong. If I want to strengthen the weapon, I need better materials. Rhea sighed. Let's try weaker enhancement next. In the end, Rhea scrapped 10 guns before she could make one that was relatively stable. But checking the weapon's durability, Rhea guessed that it would not last for more than 100 rounds before the weapon would be scrapped. The good thing was that this gun would not explode. At most, the weapon couldn't be used. The protection mechanism on the weapon was made of the runes. So when the gun was overheated or something, there would be water dousing the gun and prevented it from happening. Of course, if the materials are those that reacted violently with water, this would not work. It seems that I still have to modify the future's gun. Rhea sighed. Thinking about her chemistry and physics lesson in the past, Rhea felt that the best option was to cut off the oxygen source directly. The problem is that these runes were not so detailed to the point that it could disassemble the material's molecule. If she wanted to do it, then she would have to modify the runes. Modifying the runes? Rhea's eyes narrowed slightly with faint excitement inside it. If she had said this in front of her seniors in that world, they would definitely look at her as if she was crazy. The runes had existed for so many years and the basics had never changed. What changed was nothing more than the combination that they used in order to create the effect that they wanted with the runes. But what Ria wanted was to directly use the runes to modify something like this. It would be extremely challenging. No, not only challenging. She was trying to destroy and modify the law of runes that had been established for so many years. No sane person would attempt anything like this unless their brain was filled with water. Ria took a deep breath. The excitement in her heart was slowly disappearing, and she knew very well that there was no way she could do anything like that. Even though this was indeed the best method, she could try to do so through the combination of runes. Before reaching rank 7 or even higher, she dared not try to modify the laws of the runes. Ria herself didn't know why, but she felt that if she dared to attempt it at her current state, there was a risk that she might be hurt. This is just an instinct, but she trusted her instinct. Forget it. Let's not do anything outrageous. Ria played with the gun in her hand for a while before putting it away. It was not perfect enough and there were still many problems need to be addressed. But this was good enough for the time being. In any case, now that she was done with the gun, Ria planned to go out and relax for a bit. She didn't want to stay here all the time. Besides, designing this thing was really tiring. Her brain has been overheated for a while and Ria wanted to do something else to relax a bit and enjoyed the days when she didn't have to go out and fighting with those magic beasts. Wait. No one seemed to order her to go and hunt those magic beasts. She was the one who gave the task to herself. Ria sighed and rubbed her forehead. She cleaned up and then dressed up. So, wearing a new hairpin, Ria walked out of the room to the dining room. This time, there was only Amelia there. Has everyone left? Ria asked curiously. It was rare for Amelia to be the only one to be here. They're gone to work, Amelia replied. My brother told me to practice meditating at home and he will check the result later. When talking about her brother's arrangement for her, Amelia felt that she could never escape from her brother's training. If it was not because Samuel has some things to do with the base, Amelia was sure that she would be forced to train under him for a long time. Thinking about this, Amelia was still filled with great resentment. She felt that her brother didn't have any fun in his life and transferred those days to her and her younger brother. It was as if he wanted the two of them to be like him. A workaholic and training madman who only knew how to train and work. He didn't seem to have any other fun in life. But the problem is, neither Amelia or Sean would be able to stand facing Samuel's rigorous training obediently. One was lazy and liked to fish around while the other one wanted to spend more time with his girlfriend and talked about love instead of training hard. So the two of them sometimes paddled and then got punished. Welp, Samuel would not let them go so easily just because they were his siblings. In fact, his requirements seemed to be stricter due to the fact that they had obtained a large amount of resources from him. Is it because your physical strength improved faster than your mana? Ria asked after she heard Amelia's arrangement. How do you know? Amelia was stunned. Magic warriors usually pay more attention to balance, and I could see that Senior Arnold is also asked by Senior Samuel to meditate more. This will allow you to balance your physical strength and your mana, achieving greater result, Ria explained. Chapter 395. Supermarket. Amelia nodded absent-mindedly. Forget it. I'll just try to meditate more, Amelia said with a sigh. Ria chuckled. To be honest, Amelia's talent was really good. Those who could get stronger through battles are definitely top-notch, and if they were to train themselves well, they would be able to achieve greater things in the future. Because with how many magic beasts out there, they could not stop fighting even if they wanted to. You really have good talent, but having talent alone is not enough, Mel, Ria said after thinking for a bit. For someone with Amelia's talent, it was indeed a bit of a waste to paddle around and be lazy in practice. Yet at the same time, Ria understood why Amelia was like this. As a person who has been living in peaceful environment and also the little princess of a big and powerful family, Amelia has been living in pampered life. She didn't need to do anything and there would be many people lining up to please her. How could she change her mentality so easily? The world had changed and even though she complained more often. I know. Amelia pursed her lips and sighed. But training is really hard and I can't bring myself to motivate my lazy self. She's really lazy. There were times when Amelia really wanted to stop training because she was tired. But it was her brother's face and threatening words that made her continued, even though she really wanted to beat him up. It's not going to be easy. Ria shook her head and said, but if you truly want to be better and live without your brother's protection all the time in this world, it's a process that you have to go through. Perhaps her parents and brothers would feel distressed when they saw her suffer. But at the same time, they would not stop her. Because this is a process that Amelia had to go through if she truly wanted to grow up. I know. Amelia nodded, a bit depressed. Ria looked at Amelia like this and felt a bit helpless. At the same time, she knew that it was impossible for her to persuade Amelia more than this. She didn't want to overstep her bounds either. Ria sighed and then said, forget it and just try your best. Also, try not to sleep. Ugh, I'll try. After joking around with Amelia a bit to lighten the mood, Ria came out of Joan's family residence and looked around the base. They have been outside for some time and the base was slowly growing. Right now, there were already more buildings erected and there was already another new wall made. It could be said that City A Base was developing rapidly. There were also more rules and policy in City A Base. The law and order were also more perfect than before. It's really giving people illusion as if the world had never changed. But this kind of thing is good in Ria's opinion, because this meant that people didn't worry about the safety of their lives and could focus on improving their life. Life is getting better. After a while, Ria came to the supermarket. Well, this was still the only supermarket in the base. Welcome. Oh, it's Ria. Sophia, who was taking care of the supermarket, smiled when she saw the other party. You're back to work so quickly? Ria asked in confusion. Melly is sleeping right now. Sophia pointed to the side where Melly was sleeping. She ate too much Magic Beast's core. When they were outside, Sophia didn't dare to give too much of those Magic Beast's core to Melly. Because when Melly was absorbing the mana from the Magic Beast's core, she would be sleeping or resting. They were in danger outside, so how could Sophia put herself and Melly in danger? But when they came back, Sophia didn't have any qualms and fed Melly a few Magic Beast's core. As a result, Melly has been sleeping and sluggish all day long. You should let Melly eat in moderation. Ria shook her head and crouched to check Melly. She's no doctor, but she still could sense the mana within humans' body and Magic Beast's body. Through sensing their mana, she could usually know their situation more or less. And Melly was simply resting. Well, there's indeed too much mana and Melly is slowly digesting it, Ria said and then stood up. I don't have any potion to help her digest the mana, so she could only do her best slowly. I know. Sophia sighed and rubbed Melly's head in distress. She poked the dog's forehead and muttered, You greedy little girl. Ria chuckled. She guessed that it was Melly who wanted more and Sophia couldn't help but give in when facing her dog's puppy eyes. Sophia has always been so soft-hearted when facing her pets and Melly knew it very well. As the dog that has been raised by Sophia for so many years, how could she not know her owner's temperament well? Looking around, Ria arched her eyebrows. The supermarket didn't seem to change that much. Does the resources here enough to supply so many people? So many people? Sophia shook her head when she heard Ria's words. Most people who come to the base from outside are poor and they couldn't even change enough contribution points for their own life. How many of them would be willing to come here? Most people at this stage was still relatively poor. And it was only a handful of them who came here every day were rich. The rest? Sophia didn't think that they would come because they have to pay contribution points just to enter the supermarket. Not everyone could waste so much contribution points just to chat like Ria. Is it that hard to get contribution points? Ria suddenly asked. Chapter 396. Conflicts. Is it hard? Sophia looked confused and then shrugged. You ask the wrong person. I can get a few contribution points every day by taking care of the supermarket, so I don't know how many contribution points that other people obtained every day. But earning 5 contribution points per day shouldn't be that difficult as long as they're willing to work hard. Afterwards, you can pay rent, buy food, buy drink, and the rest is saved. The meal set in the canteen was only 1 contribution points. The portion was not big, but it would be enough for most people to eat. As for the porridge, well, it was indeed free, but if they wanted to buy another bowl, then it would be 1 contribution point. Forget it, I don't need to gather the contribution points. Ria thought about her card that still has a lot of contribution points inside and felt that it was meaningless for her to work so hard to collect more. After all, she didn't need these things. Most of the things that she needed were all in her world, and there was truly no need for her to ask the base. Only a few other things were still asking the base for help. Sophia? She had the feeling that Ria was affected by Amelia's Versailles talk. If this sentence was heard by others, they would definitely want to beat Ria up. Thankfully, there were only the 3 of them here. By the way, how did you maintain this work? Ria asked curiously. If she was not wrong, the position as the receptionist in the supermarket is a job that was very popular. A lot of people wanted to get this job and earn stable contribution points. This job is basically given to the Carson family. I let my cousin replace me when I was leaving to fight the magic beasts, and when I came back, I'll take back the job while he took other job, Sophia explained. Ria arched her eyebrows. She had the feeling that this should be one of the few benefits that the Carson family fought for themselves when they handed over the large amount of medicine to the base in the past. After all, there was no point for them to keep so many medicine in their hands. These medicine has shelf life, and the Carson family couldn't possibly eat all of them. So aside from a few that they truly needed and then some others as backup, the rest was basically given to City A base. Could be said that the Carson family was betting that City A base would thrive. Otherwise, their investment would basically become useless. It's quite convenient, Ria muttered. Sophia laughed. There are other cousins who also want to take this job, but thanks to Melly, I can be here. Because Melly has reached rank 2? Yes. When they came back yesterday, Sophia noticed that Melly was already at the peak of rank 1. She gave some magic beast's core to Melly with the hope that she could advance to the next rank sooner. The result is very gratifying. Melly managed to advance to rank 2, and the improvement is not over yet. When Sophia came to her grandfather with the newly advanced Melly, he immediately handed over the receptionist job to her. Her cousin couldn't do anything but to glare at her. It was interesting. That's great. Ria smiled. If Sophia is more valued by the Carson family, her future's resources could also ask from them. This is a good thing because a beast master also required a lot of resources. After all, if Sophia were to get another magic beast under her, the resources she had to use would skyrocket. It was definitely not a small amount. By the way, does the base trust the Carson family so much? Ria asked again. Because there were many things in the supermarket that if the Carson family were to have any other ideas, City A base would definitely suffer. Oh, there's a security measure here. Sophia pointed at the things on the racks. If you took something and didn't check out in 5 minutes, someone will monitor you tightly. And if several items are taken in rapid succession, someone will come and check. There were several measures in place to make sure that neither the receptionist or the buyer could take advantage of the supermarket. Ria nodded when she heard that. It seemed that they have long been prepared in case some people made trouble. After all, it was known that there were some people who would take advantage when there was a chance. Well, is there anything new? What are you looking for specifically? Seeds. It's unlikely they'll be sold in the supermarket anytime soon, Sophia replied. I think that until they have enough food production for everyone in Continent Z, they will not let the seeds fall to the common people. It would be enough for them to control the food and cultivate it for the people to enjoy. Ria nodded. I see. Speaking about plants, how was the growth of the tree in that laboratory's special garden? The trees in her world would be readjusted by the world, but these trees outside couldn't experience the same treatment. She hoped that the researchers under Samuel could take care of the plants well. In that case, I'll go out first. Yes. Sophia waved her hand and then sat still once again. It was very boring for her, but having a job is far better than having none at all. Ria walked out of the supermarket. The contribution point that she spent was nothing at all. So even if she wasted time inside, Ria didn't care that much. But the moment she came out, she saw a familiar face in front of her. Her eyes turned cold. Why are you here, Sierra? Sister Ria. Sierra, who was waiting for Ria outside the supermarket, almost jumped up when she saw the other party. You have to help Dad. He has a large debt. Chapter 397. Conflicts. 2. Sierra was following her father's instruction. There were some people who were willing to listen to her, but their power was not much. It was only enough to help her with her debt a bit. After all, not many people have so much resources in these days. Sierra could only be patient. And when she was walking around, she saw Ria entering the supermarket. Her steps froze. How come? How come she could easily enter the supermarket? Her expression distorted with jealousy, anger, and resentment. In the past, Ria has always been an unknown child, someone whom she could step at will and no one will come to blame her. No matter how much she bullies Ria, everyone will side with her. Her parents would always protect her and there was nothing that Ria could do. But now, seeing Ria was leisurely entering the supermarket despite having to pay contribution points, a nameless anger brewed in Sierra's heart. She stood in front of the supermarket, waiting for it to open. The moment the door opened, Sierra saw Ria and quickly said, "Sister Ria, you have to help Dad. He has a large debt." "Ria?" She looked at Sierra as if she was looking at an idiot. "That's your father. What does it have to do with me?" "He's also your father. And as his daughter, why don't you care? Have you had enough?" Ria rolled her eyes and stepped to the side. "Whether he lives or dies had nothing to do with me. You should have known from the moment that he threw the severance letter to me that I'll never care for his affairs." Sierra's expression distorted for a moment. If only it was possible, she really wanted to steal Ria's account and took all the money from there. Because in this way, she would be able to take care of her debt and possibly arrange for another surgery. Her life would become 1,000 times better. The next moment, Sierra started to cry. "But sister, father really needs the money and he's not doing well right now. If you also starts to ignore him, are you waiting for him to die?" Ria felt goosebumps when she heard Sierra's words. She looked at the other party speechlessly and said, "I said, he's your father, not mine. You don't have to act as if you like me when you know very well that you're an illegitimate child." "You!" Sierra's face distorted. Before she could say anything else, Ria had already walked away. What an unlucky day to see her. Ria frowned and felt that she should let Mo out all the time so that she didn't have to talk with Sierra again. At the very least, Mo could serve as a deterrent when facing Sierra. "Sister, you." Sierra was still trying hard to act and seeing that some people approached her. The corner of her lips curled up. She started another play and cried hard without hesitation. At this time, Ria was already a distance away and didn't know that Sierra was using the drama to gather money to fund her medical fees. Even if some people were stingy, but some others were still willing to fork out money to help her. This made Sierra happy. At least, her debt would decrease considerably. Ria had no time to care about this as she headed to Samuel's place. To be exact, she was heading to Mr. Jones's place. At this moment, Mr. Jones and Samuel were facing Mr. Black. After that annoying beast tide that was attracted to the base by Mr. Black, they didn't have good impression of this man. But this time, Mr. Black was asking for help and they couldn't ignore it. "Now you're agree to let us take the supplies in the warehouse?" Samuel asked. His tone was cold and indifferent. "Yes." Mr. Black gritted his teeth. After that beast tides incident, he tried to head there again, but there were too many magic beasts. Even if he managed to kill some of them, many others would come to him and attack his men. In the first place, he had only managed to get back a part of the resources he had before the earthquake. The rest were still locked in the warehouse. "I'll give you the key number. I just want to get part of the resources." "Part of the resources?" Mr. Jones sneered. "Do you really think that you're worthy of more resources after the damage you have done to Cydia Base? Don't go too far. You have already taken all of them." Mr. Black's face was distorted when he thought about it. As punishment for bringing the magic beasts to the base, he had already lost a lot of resources. "Do you know that the magic beasts tide that you attracted also attacked the 2 other bases? If they were to know that you're the one who attracted them, Do you think that they would be willing to let you go? Samuel continued unhurriedly. Mr. Black opened his mouth and closed it again. He knew that there were people from Business District Base coming to City A Base not long ago. After all, their number was in hundreds. When so many people came to City A Base, it was simply impossible for them not to notice at all unless they were very ignorant or blind. If these people were to know that the cause of the beast tide was him, would his family be able to stay in City A Base? With his family's current capabilities, it was impossible for him to leave City A Base. Those who were training and even he himself could barely reach rank 1. It was far from enough to deal with the magic beasts out there. How much do you want? At least 80%, Samuel replied. 80%? Do you want to rob me? Mr. Black's face turned extremely dark when he heard this. If you're not satisfied, you can always go by yourself. Chapter 398. Conflicts. 3. Mr. Black saw Samuel's leisure look and knew that Samuel should have known that he didn't have that ability. If he could go on his own, he would have done that a long time ago. Unfortunately, he didn't have such ability. So he came looking for Samuel in hope that he would be able to get some bargain. Even if he had to give out some of the resources, it was better than not having any at all. But now, Samuel clearly wanted so much. You're such a greedy B*****. Samuel chuckled. Thank you for your compliment. Mr. Black didn't answer. Also, I think it's better for you to know that even if you don't take it now, there might be someone else who will take it. After all, the walls of those warehouses are not designed to be able to withstand the attack of a magic warrior, Samuel added calmly. Mr. Black felt his breath stagnated. How could he not know that Samuel is threatening him? But what could he do? If you don't choose to agree, I might raise the percentage. All right, I agree. I'll give the password and I want to join with your team when you're going, Mr. Black quickly said. He was sure that Samuel could really do that. This man is truly a black-hearted businessman. He knew very well what they needed and would make sure that the price he offered were something that they could accept, but it would give him a lot of benefit. Mr. Black was busy cursing Samuel in his heart. It was truly his bad luck to meet Samuel in this life. He didn't know how many times he regretted having a villa here and not moved to other cities in the beginning. At the very least, those annoying higher-ups would still give him some face because of his past or the resources in his hand. But Samuel didn't care about any of this. No, it was more like Samuel always wanted to have the initiative in his hand and would not let others negotiate with him so easily. Very ruthless. TSK.
No.
Samuel shook his head. With your weak strength, you'll only hold me back. I don't want to be responsible for your safety. It was enough for him to experience the task of bringing those weak scientists and researchers. He didn't want to repeat it again in his life. Moreover, Samuel also found out through Mr. A that the higher-ups were divided into 2 factions. It seemed that even if their lives were difficult, there were still people who were fighting for power over there. It was really ridiculous. But Samuel said nothing. Those were not his business, and Samuel refused to be used as a pawn by those people. If they wanted to use him, he would disagree and refuse to follow whatever they asked him to do. Thankfully, Mr. A was not someone who would do something like that. What if you take more? Do you really think your resources are very valuable, Mr. Black? City A Base had just received a large donation of food and supplies, Samuel said slowly. He thought for a moment and then added, if you don't believe it, you can check the canteen because there are new menus there. Mr. Black took a deep breath. Who's so stupid that they would donate so much food these days? He opened his mouth, wanting to refute but seeing Samuel's calm eyes. Mr. Black had the feeling that he would truly be able to see it if he headed to the canteen. This made him feel a bit irritable. If you don't want to agree, you're free to leave. In the end, under Samuel's strong methods, Mr. Black had to agree and didn't follow Samuel. This made him very resentful, and he really wanted to go and follow Samuel quietly. But at the same time, Mr. Black knew very well that his safety would not be guaranteed. It's dangerous out there. Bang! Samuel shook his head as he saw the door closed. The resources given by Ria is more than enough to fulfill the need of City A Base. At least, until the farm stabilize and the source of food will be secured. If it was before, he might be somewhat tempted with Mr. Black's offer. Because there were indeed a lot of people in City Base and he had to figure out how to feed all of them one way or another. The food planted grown wouldn't be enough for the time and various industries had only started recovery. Moreover, City Base didn't ask for resources from the people who came. They only asked for identity confirmation. Thus, it was not that easy for Samuel and Mr. Jones to get a lot of resources to feed so many people in City Base. I heard. Mr. Jones nodded. He understood that his son was saying this to explain why he was so tough in front of Mr. Black just now. After all, in normal situation, the amount of resources that Mr. Black offered would be a timely help for them. And there's no guarantee the quality of these food by now. Samuel shook his head and sighed. The worldwide earthquake had destroyed most of the systems and various devices. This should also include the cooling device for those warehouse. Some remained intact. But for how long? Without enough power, it would not last that long and would eventually be wasted. Samuel didn't want to do useless work like this. Do you want to use it to trade with other cities? Mr. Jones narrowed his eyes. He could guess that Samuel didn't really think highly of those food and City Base was not exactly lacking in food right now. The charity that Ria gave to them was a bit too much. So much that even Mr. Jones doubted that Ria had a granary full of food. But after seeing the space storage scroll, he calmed down. Chapter 399, That World. Samuel smiled and nodded at his father. As expected of his father who raised him, he immediately understood what Samuel wanted to do with these things. While the quality might not be the best, but it was definitely better than nothing. Besides, if it could help to let more people survive through this period of darkness, why not? They could get other things from the exchange. Everyone took what they needed. It's not impossible. Mr. Jones rubbed his chin and then laughed. But I didn't expect you to calculate Mr. Black so much. From not willing to help him under the excuse of the other party rejecting his help before, and now Samuel wanted to use the things belonged to Mr. Black to trade with other cities and gained profit. Truly, black-hearted businessman. But since this is the brat whom he had raised, Mr. Jones only laughed helplessly and still accepted it calmly. He knew that while Samuel liked to try obtaining as much profit as possible, he still knew a sense of propriety, taking advantage when he could and take a step back when it was necessary. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for the Jones Corporation to last so long in the past few years under Samuel's lead. I didn't kill him for bringing those magic beasts to the base, and it's already kind enough. Samuel rolled his eyes. If it was just refusing his offer in the beginning, Samuel would only raise the price appropriately. But the other party had caused a lot of trouble to City Base in the past. For him not to kill the other party directly, he was already kind, all right? Kill? Mr. Jones arched his eyebrows. Samuel was silent and didn't answer his father directly. In that world, he had already killed many people for various reasons. After all, if the family wanted to stand firm in that brutal world, they had to be prepared to face many other families' temptation and cruelty. He learned to kill people in a literal sense. Well, the world is already like this. It's not that strange to hear, isn't it, father? Samuel asked back. His tone was light. Mr. Jones looked at his son and could guess what Samuel meant. He didn't know what Samuel had experienced in that world, but this brat grew up even more overnight. Because of that, Mr. Jones could only sigh in his heart. But he also knew that it was not appropriate to ask. Unless it was Samuel himself who wanted to talk about it, Mr. Jones had no intention of prying into Samuel's secret and past. It was a past that he as the father didn't need to know. As long as you know what you're doing, Mr. Jones narrowed his eyes. You just have to remember that there's still law and order in this world. If he killed indiscriminately, it wouldn't be easy for others to accept it. Don't worry, I don't have such a hobby. Samuel rolled his eyes and then thought of something else. I'll depart in 2 days along with the soldiers from the capital city, so I'll leave the base to you again, father. Mr. Jones nodded. I know. Do you really have to go? If these magic beasts truly set up a nest, then there's no other choice but to go and exterminate them, Samuel said slowly. His eyes revealed traces of coldness. I can't possibly let them increase their number on Green Planet. All right. Mr. Jones couldn't really do anything about his first son. And with Samuel's strength, he's destined to be at the forefront. Not many people would be able to walk side by side with him at this time. Knock. Knock. Mr. Jones. Miss Ria is here to see your son. Oh. Mr. Jones glanced at Samuel. Samuel replied, "Let her in." Yes. Ria followed the guard inside. This was the first time she came to Mr. Jones' place. Previously, the meeting was held in their study room and she didn't have to go out. Hey, it's already afternoon and we'll go back soon. You can just wait for us to go back, Samuel said. I just think it's better for you to arrange this batch first. Ria handed over a space storage scroll to Samuel. Samuel took it, and after he looked inside, he saw a large number of magic scrolls that Ria had prepared. He did give Ria a lot of paper so that she could make a lot of talisman and magic scroll, but this was too much. It seems that the battle capabilities of the people in the base will be increased soon, Samuel said helplessly. Ria chuckled. You better not forget that you have to pay me, Senior Samuel. I won't forget, but I don't have that many magic beasts cores right now. You will have to wait until I receive the payment for the parts one sold to the capital city to get them, Samuel said with a bright smile on his face. Ria nodded and agreed without hesitation. I know. I'll wait. Good. Also, about the trip to the magic beast's nest in 2 to 3 days, we will have to take detour first to collect resources from Mr. Black's warehouse. There are a lot of them that can be used for the base, Samuel continued. He didn't plan to hide this matter from Ria since they would be traveling together. As for the arrangement for these resources, Samuel didn't think that Ria would be interested considering that she had handed over a lot of food for him. Well, he didn't expect Ria to be so rich. It's fine. I think that there might be more magic beasts in that area too, Ria replied with thoughtful look. It seemed that they would have to fight a lot. Thinking about it, the corner of her lips curled up slightly. Samuel saw Ria's expression and chuckled. Indeed. Do you want to bring more people? Just the few who came last time should be enough. And then, Chapter 400, Careless. Mr. Jones silently looked at his son who was talking with Ria and wondered why did he have to discuss these in his office. Can't they go back first? For some reason, he felt that his son's behavior was a bit odd. He was not usually so enthusiastic. Forget it. Not wanting to think too much, Mr. Jones focused on his work again. He treated these two people as if they didn't exist. The days passed by quietly. After meeting with Samuel, Ria walked around the base with him. He also needed to know the progress of the base after going out for a long time. After all, he was originally the one who managed it. If he knew nothing, it would be very bad. In this way, Ria saw the buildings that was being built and also the new canteen that was built. This canteen was located more at the outer edge and it only sold porridge, water, and bread. The price each was only 1 contribution point and everyone could get 1 bowl of porridge and 1 glass of water every day. There was nothing else there. After all, this canteen was set up to help those who were poorer and could only live at the edge of the base. When the base expanded again in the future, their location wouldn't be at the outermost edge anymore, though. As for the canteen inside, Ria noticed that there was a glass of milk that was priced at 1 contribution points per glass. And many people were lining up to buy it. The milk is really popular? Ria asked curiously. She handed over the goat and the cow milk from her world. The amount was quite a lot since those cow and goat has been in her world for more than half a year, but she didn't give the produce from the last month. Because the food at the last month contained much more manna and it was not suitable to give out. Milk can give you some protein and it's quite nutritious. For most people who could only eat porridge and drink water, it's a good alternative, Samuel explained. It was also because of this that he didn't ask for a high price and 1 glass of milk can be bought with only 1 contribution point. To be honest, he thought about giving it for free, but the amount that Ria gave to him was not that much. It would run out soon, so pricing it this way would be better. Is there no milk before? Ria saw that a group of pregnant women were also lining up to buy.
No.
Milk powder is rare and if you look at the supermarket, I think the price is 5 contribution points, Samuel replied. Before we can rebuild the farm and the production line, it's not going to come down anytime soon. Ria nodded in understanding. It seemed that she would have to understand that many resources were rare, and the food has only been planted. Even with the growth formation, it would still take 2 months for the food to be ripe. It's not long? It was actually quite long because the time could be cut by half if there were enough fertilizer and so on. The technology for farming before was pretty good and the equipment could help to let the plants mature earlier. Unfortunately, they didn't have many fertilizer, so they could only rely on the plant's natural growth plus the formation's enhancement. I see. Ria nodded. Did you use magic spell when collecting the milk? They're very clean. Samuel thought about something and looked at Ria. Well, yes. Ria shrugged. It's really dirty and hard to get. So if I don't use a cleansing spell, I won't even dare to process them. As a proper city girl, Ria had to admit that she barely knew anything about farming. It was only after she tried it out did she realize that it was really dirty and so on. Her paper doll couldn't learn any magic spell. But after changing to the jade doll, they could learn some simple daily spell, so Ria taught them cleansing spell, growth spell, and so on. In this way, they would be able to take care of the animals. Of course, she had slaughtered the excess number of the animals and put the meat away. There were simply too many of them. How they multiplied so quickly, Ria didn't understand and suspected that it might be the effect of mana. After all, those magic beasts also increased in number very quickly and caused headache to many people. So there might be that effect. She honestly didn't know. Ria hated biology because there were so many strange names that she had to memorize. Yet, she was able to memorize countless runes with ease. Could be said that interest played a big role in helping one's memorization. That's good, then. Samuel nodded. Ria paused and then looked at Samuel. How do you know that those are not from the market? Because you put them in buckets. Ria. She forgot about that. Seeing Ria's autistic look, Samuel chuckled. He felt that Ria is really powerful, but she could be careless in many things in her life. It was really cute. There are still some farms in this world, but their number couldn't be too large because it's hard to protect them from the magic beasts. Unless it's a farm dedicated in the base where there are a lot of protection, Samuel said slowly. He had shown Ria their fields but didn't show her the animals yet. After all, there was no reason for him to show them to her. Ria saw Samuel's look and for some reasons, she had the feeling that he wanted her to help him with the formation again. You're not telling me that you want me to build another formation to protect it, right? Samuel looked at Ria with a smile. His intention was clear.